It's been a long time in the making. That's right. We are going to be doing our review of the Camas DDWB, their 15 Newton meter direct drive wheelbase. I'm going to be telling you all about the experience that I had, the good, the bad, and my overall thoughts on it. So stick around because we got all of that coming up next. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brandon here. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. And like I said, we've got the Camas DDWB, their 15 Newton meter direct drive wheelbase. We're going to be taking a look at that, plus the actual wheel itself. Camas reached out to me last year, at the end of last year, asked me if I would be interested in reviewing this wheel, if they gave it to me, and then if I liked it, would I promote it? I told them what I tell anybody who comes to me with an offer like that. Essentially, look, I'll give you an honest opinion. If I like it, I'll promote it. But if I don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm not going to just promote stuff, just because it was given to me. That was what happened here. Yes, they did give me this base, and the wheel. They shipped it to me. Everything was free of charge. And, just so you know that, okay? Just so you know that. That all being said, that does not mean I'm going to sugarcoat or overlook issues with this. At the end of the day, the most important thing to me is you, the community, right? That's what we've been building over all these years. That's what every day that I do this, it's for the community, right? I'm not going to just pawn off garbage. So, give you my overall thoughts on this, what I like about it, what I love about it, and what I didn't like about it, and what I think can be improved. We're going to take a look at the wheelbase, the wheel, and the software on the system here. Plus, we're going to be looking at it in iRacing and ACC. I'm not an ACC driver. I literally went out and bought it just for this review, and obviously reviews going forward, just because I wanted to look at the force feedback in a couple of different sims. iRacing is obviously my main platform, and that's what I spend my time on. But I wanted to do others just because, like I said, I know there are people out there who do more than just iRacing. So, anyways, let's dive right into this. So, first up, we've got the steering wheel. The rim itself is really, really nice. There is a little bit of flex to it, but it's really, really small. Okay, it's almost not even noticeable. When you put it on the base, like, you got to really be cranking on this thing to feel the flex. When I'm racing, I don't feel it at all. I don't notice it. I don't feel it. So if you do feel the flex on this thing, you are strong, really strong. Okay. Now, this wheel, it's a really good comparison is the wheel, my old wheel, which is the Thrustmaster Sparco Rally wheel. I had this on my T300. I bought this myself because I wanted a bigger rim. This is a 13-inch rim. The Camus rim is also 13 inches. Now, this wheel, when I bought it, was about 200. I think it was like $259 or $60, so like somewhere around 260 after tax. Okay, and I liked it. Good wheel. But couple things. First of all, the buttons on this, you could barely feel them when you push them. Right, you can barely feel them. The shifters on here, very smushy. It's not a good click. When I am shifting with this, like, I gotta really hit this thing to know that I'm shifting, because if I'm just doing this, I almost can't tell that I'm shifting. Okay. The, the suede, right? Looks cool if you're gonna hang it on the wall, but after you use it a little while, it gets all soft and worn out, and it doesn't look good, right? Comfortable, but it doesn't look good. Okay, overall, it's a good wheel, and in my opinion, really, anything under like $500, there's gonna be flaws with it. All right, I mean, you look at some of the steering wheels that they have out there, it's insane the money that you can spend just on the wheel, not even the base, just the wheel. So when you can get anything for under $300, to me, it's be happy, right? If it's good. I mean, obviously this one, this has no flex in it. It's a very, very sturdy wheel, which is obviously nice. Overall, it was not a bad wheel. I liked it. The button layout was pretty good. The shifters, I'm not a big fan of them. I thought they felt really smushy. And then the buttons themselves, like I said, it's really hard to tell that you push them, right? It's the slightest click to them. All right. This, it's heavier. I like the wrapping much, much better. It's not real leather, but it feels really, it's faux leather, but it feels really nice. It's hand stitched, as you can see here. Really, really nice. You've got the carbon fiber here with the button box, the button pad, stuff like that. These shifters, I really like these. It's a much better click to them. They're magnetic. They do have magnets right here. You can actually change these out, put stronger magnets if you want it to be a stronger click. One thing I've heard people complain about, because initially I did not watch or look at anybody else's reviews until I had used this and formulated my own opinion. Then I went and watched a couple reviews just to see if people had had problems or issues and things like that. And then I wanted to kind of see, okay, well, I didn't have that problem, or I thought this, right? So one of the things a lot of people complained about is the shifters. They would be like, oh, well, I wish these were out farther. Well, I don't know if they had different ones. From what it looked like, it was the same as mine. There are 2 set screws, literally, if I can get this in the light here, right there. Okay, right there. See those? Those are set screws. All you got to do is loosen those up and this thing will slide out. You could move this up like to where you don't have to reach as far. Like, they're adjustable. So I don't know what people are talking about, because their wheels, from what I saw, had those adjusters on there too. I don't know if they just didn't notice it or what, but there's a good inch of adjustment, maybe even more. I mean, you could adjust these out further. It's got the quick release on here. Their quick release is a pretty standard quick release. I like it. It feels good when it goes on. It's got a good solid to it. Like, you can feel that it's on there. The buttons, I've heard people talk about the buttons being chintzy or feeling smushy or something. I think they're, for what they are, I think they're fine. With these, I can actually feel this go in compared to those other buttons. No, they're not like, you're not getting a solid like click right on them, but you can feel them. They are backlit. A lot of people have commented about the color scheme, that they don't like the color scheme and stuff like that. That's one of those things to me. Aesthetics is so subjective to where I can't say that this is ugly or good looking or anything like that, because it's very subjective. So you might like it, you might not. It really depends. There are Porsche wheels out there, right? Like, very expensive Porsche wheels that have the same type of coloring. So I don't know if that's why they did. I don't know. I don't, and to be honest, I don't care, right? It doesn't really matter to me. Along with the buttons here, you've got these switches. One is an actual toggle that's got 3 positions. This works really, really well for the radio. Like, if you're doing iRacing, voice chat, anything like that, being able to push this into a position. I actually use it for the talking in the sim and then the talking in my Discord. Works really, really good for that. You've also got the up-down toggle switch over here. You do have these dials. One thing I would say about the dials is they're, okay, like that right there. See that again, okay? One click there. That tiny little bit. That's 1 notch. Keep in mind, when you turn it, you're basically just increasing or decreasing. It's not like you can assign each little notch, but the space between them is very, very small, and it's very soft. If you're someone who races with gloves, you're not going to feel that. I don't use gloves, and for me, getting just 1 notch, 1 click is very, very hard to do. So I would like to see that stiffened up, made harder, something, spaced out. But overall, for a wheel that's basically under $200. I mean, depending on where you're at, if you get this, and you got to get the VAT, I think it comes out to the same price as this thing. You know, it comes out to about $240, give or take, right, depending on where you're at. Overall, it's to me, it's a very, very good wheel. I like it, and it does the job. And to me, it does it well. So I'm thoroughly impressed with this. Yes, I can sit there and say, you know, that there's better wheels out. Well, of course there is, right? But in terms of a good all around wheel on a budget, right? Like, you want something that's quality. You want to be able to not only use it for, you know, I use this on everything, right? Whether I'm running sprint cars, dirt midgets, NASCAR, or GT3, and everything in between, this is the wheel that I use, and it works well for all of them. So to me, it's a great all around wheel at a really good price. Okay, I mean, it's the same price, if not even cheaper, than that Thrustmaster one that I got, and I got that one 2 years ago. So really, really good job here. I'm definitely happy with it. All right, now let's take a look at the base. All right, now on the base here, one of the things that I did really like was the buttons that they put on the front of the base. I did hear some people be like, well, you know, when you're racing, it's hard to get to. It's, you know, it's a great idea, but it's, you know, it's not really great in practice. Anybody who says that, I 100% wholeheartedly disagree. This is incredible. Even if you rarely use them, they're awesome to have, because I can hotkey something here and have it within reach. So for me, I actually use this bottom left button. I use that as my tow button, right? Or to get in and out of the car, escape. I use this over here to toggle my telemetry. Works really, really well. It's something that I turn on and off when I'm in the car sitting on pit lane or on a pace lap. So I don't need to be able to reach it while I'm driving. Not only that, even when the wheel's on here, to just reach down and push a button, it's right there. So very easy to do. I use these dials as my shock adjustments on the non-wing sprint car and the midget, right? Works well. This toggle switch, same thing. I mean, like, so they're, yes, when you're driving and you're, you know, actually racing full speed, it might be a little hard to reach them. But in terms of being able to assign things here that I'm going to be using, whether it's like when I'm adminning a league race, or even like if I'm live streaming or something like that, having something here where I could, you know, throw a caution, shorten a caution, make a pit stop adjustment, right? Something like that. Or even just changing, I could hotkey it for my live stream or something like that. It's great to have. It's right there. It's like you're getting a button box just with it. So I really liked that. I have zero complaints about it. I thought it was a great idea for something that probably doesn't cost a whole lot, right? When you look at other wheelbases out there and they've just got this empty space up front, what would it cost them to just throw a couple of buttons there, right? If they've got the room, it's not hurting anything. It's not going to screw. It's not like it's, well, you can't have that because of the wiring, right? Like, no. So I love that idea. I thought it was genius. And even, like I said, even if you have a hard time reaching them, even if you're only using them to tow and toggle telemetry and stuff like that, it's still great to have, so you're not having to reach up on your keyboard and do all this other stuff. So hats off to them. Really, really enjoyed that. All right, now with all of that good stuff that we just covered, and before we hop into the racing here and actually take a look at some of this stuff on track, because obviously that's what you guys care the most about, everything was not sunshine and rainbows. We did have some problems. So first of all, I had waited a really long time. I got this base. Camas had actually reached out to me at the end of last year. At the start of this year, if you remember, I started that new glass business along with this business, and I've been working, you know, like 120 hours a week between the two businesses. I haven't been putting as much up on YouTube. Camus reached out. They're like, hey, what's going on? You still around? So I explained everything to them. They're like, well, look, we still want to have you review it. You know, we still want to send it to you. And so they did. I got the wheelbase. And when I finally got it, I put everything together. And putting this all together was not the easiest thing. There are a couple little plugs and stuff like that that I'm not the biggest fan of, just because they're really small. If you were one of those people who doesn't deal with this a lot, you might be intimidated by it. This is one of the plugs right here. This will plug into there's a hub here for the quick release that actually bolts onto here. This plug plugs into that. Then it gives you the little pad here that the quick release goes onto. So did not like that. Overall, not that big a deal. Mounting it, I bolted it to my rig. There are 4 holes underneath. They take, I want to say M6 bolts is what they take. Maybe M8, one of those two. Obviously, it did not line up with any other pattern out there. That is something I would definitely like to see changed. If Camas could, change their bolt pattern to match a Fanatec or a Thrustmaster or a Logitech or whatever, just to make it easier. Not everybody has a drill and drill bits lying around to drill on their rig. They just don't. Now, they do have other mounting options. You can get a clamp. You can get the side mounting options for it. Depending on your rig, I would look into getting a different mount for it. Now, if you have a plate like I do, you're going to have to bolt it. You're going to have to drill the holes for it. I would like to see Camas include a pattern with this wheelbase. I think that would be really, really helpful. And it doesn't even have to be anything like special. Just a piece of paper that's got the 4, where all it says is, hey, put this on here and here's your 4, this is where you're going to be drilling. So that it just makes it simple for people. They could line that up, get it centered on whatever they're drilling it through, and then boom, 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 boom. And then now you know that you've got it. For me, I was having to measure it and line everything up and this, and and then I've got other holes there for other wheels. And so now I'm having to kind of move this around. It was a real pain in the butt. And I think if you just had a simple pattern that you could just lay on there, it's like, hey, these are the 4 holes, tape this on, drill through these 4 spots. It would make it much simpler for people. So I would love to see something like that included. Also, instructions, manuals, things like that online. Most of the stuff that I found was in Chinese. I don't speak Chinese. Mandarin, I think is what it was. I don't speak it. Can't read it, don't understand it, but there was other stuff out there in English. It was just a little bit harder to find when I was getting this thing set up. But overall, not bad. Not 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 the end of the world. Like I said, the hardest part was drilling it and mounting it. That was the biggest problem. Now, we did have a little bit of an issue not long after I first got it, and it was definitely disappointing because the wheelbase just died on me. And essentially what happened was the motherboard had gone out. All right, so this is the motherboard. This is what was in it. There was essentially 2, well, actually more. I think there was 3 points of failure. It's very hard to see. You can kind of see it right here. Another spot. You can kind of see where that's burned a little bit. And then right here, another spot where it's kind of burned. Forgive my finger. I almost cut the end of it off pulling out a windshield. But so I was using it. I had literally just ran a race, won the race, was bragging about how amazing this thing was. And 30 minutes later, it just died. It all of a sudden, there was no force feedback. There was nothing there. The wheel wasn't registering in the software, nothing. And that was incredibly disappointing. Didn't know what happened. Sometimes motherboards fail. That's just one of those things that can happen. From the research that I've done, I did not know of anybody else having this issue. Okay. Any issue that I saw other people have in their reviews, from what I could see, has been taken care of, has been fixed, has been upgraded, and has been taken care of. I don't know if this was just a fluke. I have no idea. What I can tell you is they sent me another motherboard. The tech support was obviously awesome. Now, keep in mind, I'm reviewing it, so I cannot speak as a retail customer. I can only speak as a reviewer. But they were obviously awesome with me. They had hopped in a chat with me, got on, looked at the log files. Next day, it was like, hey, look, we're going to send you a motherboard. If we do that, can you fix it? I told them, yes, of course. Then I put it back together, and it's been fine ever since. Now, the base had been fine ever since. What was weird was when I put it back together, all of a sudden, my shifter, this left shifter, wasn't working anymore. Which was odd because I had done nothing. There was nothing wrong with the wheel, right? And that shifter had nothing to do with the base or not. Everything else worked fine. It was just this one thing, and it just wasn't registering. I was like, what the hell is going on? So I ended up actually taking this whole thing apart, and there was a connection in here that had gotten loose. Once again, I talked about that little plug on there and how it felt chintzy. That's what kind of plugs are in these shifters. It had gotten loose. So I basically I unplugged it, then plugged it back in. I actually took one of the pins and I just moved it slightly just so it'd be a little bit of a tighter connection. And it's been fine ever since. I haven't had any problems with it ever since. So, couple little hiccups, but other than that, it's been fine. Now, here's the thing. For me, not a big deal, right? This was given to me. This was sent to me. I paid nothing, okay? My payment is this review, okay? If I had paid money for this, I would be singing a little bit of a different tune. I would be upset. I'm not going to lie. Now, if I understand things happen and things break, and if they take care of it, then I'm good, right? As a customer, I'm okay with that. All I can tell you is that for me, had a problem, they took care of it, and it was fixed it was about a week. Considering that the parts had to come from China, I'm perfectly fine with that, okay? Yes, the issue with the shifter was annoying, and the timing of it was obviously horrible, but not a big deal. I've had other, connections before that have gotten loose on other wheels and stuff like that where I've had to go in there and jiggle the wire or whatever, right? So that type of thing, it happens. It's understandable. I don't like it, but it happens, right? The motherboard burning up, that sucks. But that does happen sometimes. There's been times before where I've been building PCs and a brand new motherboard out of the box and it's DOA, just dead on arrival. So that's one of those issues where I don't like it. It's not ideal, but they happen. Now, when we get this thing hooked up and ready to go, we got to get the Camas software. And this is where we actually dive into the part that you guys care about, which is the on-track performance and the force feedback. So let's take a look at that next. All right, so we've got the Camas software here. A couple things that I really do like about this. Obviously, it's got all the games over here, sims over here that you can use. The only two that I did were ACC and obviously iRacing. Those are the only two that I played around with or messed with. I did not want to really mess with any other sims out there. I'm not going to be using them anytime soon. And to me, ACC and iRacing, in terms of the force feedback, it gave me a very good idea of what the wheel was capable of. So if it works good on those two, then it should work on any other sim, in my opinion. All right, whether or not it will, I don't know, but it should. We've got the main. It just tells you here what you've got connected. We've got our parameters here. This is pretty straightforward in terms of the settings. Now, one thing you'll notice here, we've got the steering range, you've got the power, the dampening, friction, inertia, idle spring, and then the effects intensity, okay? You also can save these different settings, which is nice because I use completely different settings for when I'm running like a NASCAR or like an asphalt oval car compared to the dirt, right? Like if I'm running a wing sprint car or something like that, completely different, okay? And so you can actually save those, and then I can just click on them and load them, and it just changes the settings. And you can do it at any time. Like if you're mid-race and you're like, oh crap, I forgot to change my profile, you can just do it and it'll do it right there, and there's no issues. So that's really nice. If you click on the question mark here, it'll actually give you the breakdown of what these things do. What I found with Camas on the settings is 95% to me was the max that I wanted to turn this thing up to. I had been using it at 100, but I found that 95% on the asphalt side is where I wanted to be, and then I adjust the rest in game. On the dirt side, I actually only run it, I think it's like 60%. Yes, you can see I just loaded up the dirt, and it's at 60%. I do use more friction, all right, but overall, I just adjust it in game. On the dirt side of things, especially in iRacing, the force feedback, it can be so, powerful at times in certain situations. With this thing cranked up to 100, there was times I was afraid I was going to break my hand. I mean, like seriously. So, play around with the settings, get a feel for it. It took me about 3 days, okay? Like 3 days where I was testing all these settings, and essentially what I did was I put it all the way up, test it, put it all the way down, test it, see how it felt, and then I would adjust it. Then I would turn that one off, right? So if I was trying to figure out dampening, I had friction, inertia, idle spring all at 0. I'd turn dampening all the way up, go out and test it, see how it feels, turn it all the way down, go out, test it, see how it feels. Then I would set the dampening to what felt good, okay? Run it, double check it. Then what I would do is I would turn dampening off. I'd make a note. All right, 10% is what I want. I would turn it off, and then I would do the same thing with the friction. Turn it all the way up, test it. Turn it all the way down, test it. Find what felt good. Make a note, then go to the next one. And then once I figured out what felt good, I mean, for the asphalt side, it was 10% on all 3 of them. Then I would set all of them, run it together, and then fine tune it, right? So it's quite the process, but when you do it and you get it right, you've got something that feels incredible. And that's what we have here. This thing feels really, really good. So let's head over and hop in a couple of sims and actually take a look. All right, so first up here we've got is ACC. Forgive me, I have not played this sim much, so and I've got it on just a single monitor right now because having to do the triple monitors with ACC actually kind of sucks. So anyways, we're at Circuit Zolder here. This is a track that I just happen to know with the Ferrari 480, I think it's a 488. So that way we can use it, same track, same car in ACC and iRacing. But the force feedback feels really good. It's got a good feel to it. I can tell the limit. I can feel every little detail in terms of the road, right? Like right there, the grass. I can feel that. The curb. If I break the... if I get to the limit, right, like right there, you can see we shove the nose. You can feel that when you like do something like that, the front tires lose grip. Now I do think that the settings here in the sim, I could play with a little bit more and make them better. I do think there is room for improvement, but overall, for what we've got, it feels really good. I can tell right now the force feedback feels good. It gives me the detail that I'm looking for. Right? Like I can feel the front tires when they broke loose right there. That's the type of stuff that I want. I want to be able to know when this thing's at the limit. I want to know if I'm sliding the front tires, right? If I've got the grip, if I'm hitting the curb. those are the things that I'm concerned with. See right there, you can feel that sliding the front tires. So overall, it's got a really good feel to it. I do think there is some room for improvement, but I think that is more settings based in the sim than it is the actual base, the wheelbase. Obviously, I am not a very good GT3 driver. Especially on ACC.
Well, mate, this has been your personal best.
Alright, so that ACC, let's head over and let's take a look at iRacing now. Alright, so we've got the same car. We're in the Ferrari 488 GT3. We are here at Circuit Soldier just like we did at ACC. I wanted to do one test. After this, we'll hop into a dirt car, and then we'll also take a look at the NASCAR Cup car, just so you guys kind of a different view of the force feedback in different cars. But I wanted to do one comparison of the same car, same track, just so you guys could kind of see head to head. Now, ACC's force feedback is on like a 400 hertz refresh rate, where iRacing's is like 60. So there's going to be a big difference in terms of the force feedback that you are feeling just because of the sim. Okay, it has nothing to do with the wheel itself or the base itself. It has to do with the sim. Okay, but overall, for myself, I think the force feedback with this base feels really good in iRacing. I heard some people say it didn't feel good. They didn't like it. They said it felt grainy. I don't think that at all. I think it feels sharp. It's quick. It allows me to feel the limit. If you look here, I've got this right here so you guys can see it. That F, that's the force feedback. Every little thing you can see, I can feel. All of the fidelity, whether I'm hitting a rumble strip or grass, dirt, the track itself, right, when I'm on the brakes hard, the bump steering the car, right, the curbs, I can feel all that. I can feel the limit of the tire. So for me, I think it feels really good. Now, if you're going to compare it to ACC, like I said, those are just different because you've got a 400 hertz refresh rate, plus they've got a different tire, they've got different physics, so that's never going to be an apples to apples comparison. It can't be. For someone like myself, who basically I spend the majority of my time on iRacing, I think it feels really, really good. And you can see here, I'm not missing anything, right? You can see the wheel, all those little fluctuations and stuff. I can feel that, and I like feeling that. I want to feel the bumps. I want to feel that stuff. My ability to catch the car in the slides and push the car to the limit with this is much better than it ever was with my other wheel. Much better than it ever was with my other wheel, right? Although I've never owned a Semi-Cube Pro, I have used one before. I would consider that to be kind of the gold standard. Whoops, felt that as I'm sitting here talking. But see right there, I can feel all that. You can tell the difference in the texture, so I did that intentionally. But I would consider the Semi-Cube kind of to be the gold standard. I would put this literally just one notch below it. I really would. I think the force feedback on this feels really good. There's a couple of things I think could be improved, but I think that's more software than the actual like base itself. I think if they could add a couple more settings to the software, you know, almost like if they could integrate something like IRFFB, the way that it's got the kind of the seat of the pants feel or the understeer feeling, if you could have those options in the Camas software itself, I think that would really, really help. All right, so that's the GT3 car. Let's head over. Let's take a look now on the dirt side of things with a wing sprint car, and let's take a look at a dirt late model too. All right, so we've got the dirt late model here. This is the super late model. We are here at Knoxville. I threw up just a pre-gen track, 75%. I did that because we want to be able to test, obviously when we're running dirt, right? We've got tacky, right, cushion, marbles, slick, right? We want to be at ruts, bumps. We want to be able to feel all that. Plus, with a car like the late model where the thing gets up like on the bars, we got to be able to feel that, right? But I can feel when the car's sliding, I can feel it. I can feel the grip on the front end. Right there, when we slid through the slick, I can feel that in the wheel. Right, there's no loss of detail with that. If I come down here to the bottom, when I hit the slick there, I can feel it, right? As I slide across that, I can feel that. And that's what I'm looking for. And if we hit the wall, you can feel it, and it's not like a, you know, it doesn't just snap it out of your hands, which is obviously really good, okay? So let's go take a look at a sprint car now. All right, so now we've got the 410 sprint car. We're here at I-55. It's just like a 50% track, I think, or 60%, I don't know, something like that. We just wanted some slick, right? Obviously, just like we do with the late model, we want to have the difference. One of the nice things about the sprint car is I can really feel the suspension with this thing. That was probably the biggest thing that I noticed going from like a T300 to this direct drive, was being able to feel when the front end gets light and is dancing around. Even when I use like the brakes and I load the suspension, I can feel that in the steering wheel. I can actually feel, believe it or not, the bump stop and bump rubber. I can tell when that's loaded. It's very subtle, and you have to have the strength up pretty high, but you can definitely feel those things when you get the settings dialed in. When the car breaks loose like that, right there, we were picking up the right front tire. Right? If I want to just drag brake, I can feel those things. The car as it wings over. Whoops. Of course, the wall, we can feel that too. So, the car, or the base, is really good at giving me the level of detail that I'm looking for with the different cars. Now, I do have to tweak the settings with different cars, and that's one of the things that you'll notice, because force feedback is obviously very subjective, right? Some people might like it to feel one way, some people might like it to feel another way. For me, I know what I'm looking for, and once I get that, that's what I want. And for each car, I have different settings in order to achieve that. But as long as I can get it, I'm fine. I don't care what I got to put the settings at. All right, you guys, so that's pretty much everything. You know, really in-depth review of this, but I wanted to make sure I covered everything. I have been using the hell out of this thing. Like I said earlier, I work about 120 hours a week. I spend about half of that in my glass business. The other 60 hours that I'm working a week, I'm in this cockpit. Either, you know, and I would say probably 75% of that I'm driving, whether I'm testing something, right, building insider setups, testing stuff for a YouTube video, doing comparisons, coaching people, whatever, but I'm using it. And I've used this thing like crazy since it got fixed. You know, it's been quite a while now, more than a month ago, and it's been fine. It's been good to go. So overall, my overall opinion of this is I really like it. I think this is a good deal. Now, they do have a special for US customers where you can actually get the base and get free shipping. I'll have a link down in the description below, for like $500. Now, you still got to get the wheel and the quick release and all that other stuff, but you can basically get, essentially the entire setup, 15 Newton meter direct drive for, like $700, which is a pretty good deal when we're talking about, like I said, 15 Newton meters worth of torque. Now, if you are somebody who's wanting, less than that, right? And they're the mid-level, even the budget level now in terms of direct drive, the market has really opened up, which is awesome, right? When you look at all the options that you have out there with like the R12, the R9, right? Fanatec's, their CSL that they've got, even Camus with their LP8 that they've got, right? So there really is a ton of options out there. And for this setup, to come in even after VAT, where you can get it for, everything for like $700-800, it's still a really, really good deal in my opinion. Yes, I did have an issue. Yes, we got it resolved. And yes, it has been fine ever since. Okay. So overall, I can recommend this. All right. That being said, there are still things I would like to see improved. Number one, like I said, the quality control, the motherboard issue. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that was a fluke. I don't know what happened with that. But nevertheless, it happened, and it happened to me. Okay. I also had an issue where the shifter stopped working, and it was because of a loose connection. Once again, the connection, it was just where it was plugged in. It just had gotten loose. That could have happened in shipping. It could have not been plugged in very good from the beginning. Once again, that could be a quality control issue. I don't know. I took apart the wheel, replugged it in. It's been fine ever since. So those little things do have me concerned. They are a cause for concern. When you are talking about a product that comes from China, right? Like, I mean, that's a long ways away. If you have to send it back, that's a real issue. Most people are not like myself. They don't have extra wheelbases just lying around that they can grab and use. Usually they've got one, right? A lot of times if they want to upgrade to something like this, they're going to sell their old one so they can get the new one, right? So they can get the money. So, you could be out of commission a long time if something like that were to happen. And that is a real cause for concern. What I can say is that with the issues I had, they were on top of it. Every person that I've seen that has had any type of issue, they've all talked about the customer service being awesome and the issue being resolved immediately and being taken care of. Okay, so that doesn't erase the problem of the issue in the first place, but it does help. All right, at the end of the day, when you are getting something of this level, right, at the price that it is, because keep in mind, if you were to get a direct drive like this, from anywhere else, it's going to be double just for the base. I would, no exaggeration, put this a step below a SemiCube. I really would. I've used the SemiCube Pros. They're incredible. I would put this one step below that. And the reason why I think it's not on par with it is not because of the base. It's actually because of the software. If Camas could integrate some of the filters in the software to help improve the force feedback in the sim, I think it would be huge, right? On a sim like ACC, where you've got this 400 hertz telemetry and all that stuff like this, it was, obviously really, really good. In iRacing, where it's only 60 hertz, this is where you would definitely see an improvement if you had something along. Now, I could just use IRFFB, and I actually did use IRFFB with this base, and it did add some more detail to it, some more fidelity to it, right? It made up for some of the limitations that is with the sim. The wheel was able to take care of that. I would like to see that stuff, though, integrated directly into the Camas software, so that way I'm not having to run some other app, right? I could just do it in the Camas software, which would be much, much better. I'm not downloading something else. I'm not running something else, right? And Camas could then work with it and improve it, and just make their stuff that much better. So that is something I would definitely like to see improved on the software side. But overall, you guys, I gotta say, I am really pleased with this. I do like it. I think it is a good deal. Couple of concerns, okay, but overall, for the price and what you're getting, I do think it is a pretty good deal. And like I said before, I would not say that if I didn't truly believe it. All right, you guys, so that's going to do it. I know, pretty long video, but I wanted to really cover this stuff because, like I said, I did a long-term review on this. I wanted to see how it was going to react, how it was going to be tested in different sims and things like that. So, and then obviously, like I said, with the issues that I had, we had to fix it and everything else. So overall, pretty happy with it. Thank you guys very much, as always, for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Now, really quick before I go, you guys, you already know what to do. Like it, subscribe, share, all that other good stuff out there. I do have a couple of things coming up here in the very near future that we're going to be taking a look at. Also, we do have the free setups for the dirt cars, specifically the sprint cars, will be going up here very, very soon in the next few days. I'm almost done with all of those. Like I said, it's been just chaos this year. Since the start of January, I can on two hands I can count how many days off I've had, and I've got a lot of fingers still left over. So it's just been nuts this year. And it's not going to be slowing down anytime soon. In fact, if anything, it's going to be getting just busier for me, which is incredible because I already don't sleep. But anyway, so definitely got some stuff coming up, so keep an eye out for that. Plus, if you want to check out our website, schoolofsimracing.net, check out the SSR community, our Discord, all of that stuff. We got links for down in the description below, or you can just go to schoolofsimracing.net, click on the button join community, and you'll get all of that stuff. We've got our upcoming NARC dirt leagues, plus we've got our new asphalt oval league getting ready to start here in a couple weeks as well. So a lot of cool stuff coming. So make sure you check all of that stuff out, along with my live streams. I do live stream couple nights a week. Usually it's like Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Sometimes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. I mean, usually it's 2 or 3 nights a week. And yeah, usually do some official racing, some league racing, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun to hang out and talk and race and do the thing, right, that we always do. So anyways, that'll do it. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. And until next time, I want to wish you good luck, good racing. Take care.